Your thoughts are disturbed. I can feel them like a shiver running through you. Force-sensitive locations such as this absorb and reflect force energy. The crystals are the catalyst here. I sense that Revan once passed through here, leaving a strong impression behind in the crystals. Perhaps future Jedi who visit this cave will feel our presence, as if seeing our footprints preserved in the soil. The crystals here are infused with the Force. Some could be harvested and used for lightsabers. The crystals here do not drain Force energy from Jedi. They collect the excess energy that radiates from those attuned to the Force. Crystal responds to you. This is very rare indeed. The crystal's bond with you is such that the stronger you become in the Force, the more powerful your crystal will grow. Quite the contrary. Picture yourself as a sieve, and the Force as water pouring into you. This crystal draws from the excess water that escapes the sieve. The crystal is in tune with you. It will use whatever water that pours through you, be it dark or light.
Halt, Settler. This is a restricted area. How the hell did you get through the Kinrath? You should leave. He's a Jedi Master? Well, the bounty's gonna be that much sweeter then. Nar Shaddaa is paying extremely well for Jedi, especially if they're alive. I'm gonna say this nice and simple for your little calf-hurting head. Unless you want to wind up dead, leave now. I warned you, but I'm glad you didn't listen. Attack, men!
I will silence this one.
This won't take long. Always rushing into action without thinking of the consequences. What? You're expecting thanks? Khoonda is in danger, and you've ruined the best chance of averting a full-scale conflict. Is this a joke to you? People's lives are at stake. Every action has consequences, no matter how small or insignificant they seem. And even the smallest choice has the potential for harm. The Mandalorian Wars was proof of this. Intentions mean nothing if a greater tragedy is caused. I need to get to Khoonda and warn them. They could be attacked at any moment. The mercenaries have allied themselves with the Exchange and are planning to attack Khoonda. They've been holding off for the right moment. And now, since they lost their captive Jedi, they'll attack immediately. I'm going to try to reach Administrator Adari. Time is of the essence.
You are the Jedi I've heard reports of, and I am Azkul, leader of the mercenaries on Dantooine. Straight to the point. I like that. I will be equally direct. I am planning to take Khoonda, and you're going to help me. According to my reports, I have 4 times as many soldiers as the militia, and I'm committed to taking Khoonda. It is inevitable that I will succeed. If you wish to avoid my men eradicating the people of Dantooine, you will make it easier for me to take Khoonda. Of course, I will pay well for your services. There are many ways someone with your abilities can aid us. Before the action begins, I have 2 main tasks in mind for you. Disable the gun turrets and the traps. You'd better reconsider. I can't have a Jedi interfering with my plans. There is a considerable bounty on your kind that I will collect on unless you're working for me. Return to me when you are ready for us to begin our assault. I warn you not to keep me waiting.
Well maneuvered. With both the mercenaries and the militia counting on your aid, you can influence the outcome of the situation as you see fit.
You have found the elusive Master Vrook. He's told me that his rescue complicated our situation to some degree. I can't say that I anticipated that. I thank you for finding him, though. Vrook has informed me that the mercenaries devised a plan of attack to annihilate Khoonda itself. I must ask for your aid again, Jedi. Zeron says that even with a plan, the mercenaries have to gather their forces, then coordinate their assault. So we still have time. I'm afraid the militia has not been adequately trained for the task that befalls them. Our militia is effective at peacekeeping, but isn't prepared for a full-scale battle. If you can do anything to ready them for the reality of it, that would be helpful. Besides that, look around Khoonda and see what you can do to strengthen our defenses. I know that we don't have the perimeter turrets online, and that alone could make a significant difference. Zeron says there is a considerable chance they will breach Khoonda itself. Anything you can do to slow them down could turn the tide of battle. Right now, just us and the militia. I don't want to create a needless panic. But be assured I will make sure that all civilians are warned in time so they can get to safety. Though if we lose this battle, nowhere on Dantooine will be safe for settlers for long. I have instructed the militia and other Khoonda personnel that you are to be provided with anything that can be spared. Here is a MasterCard key that will open all of the security doors inside Khoonda. Soon, all the civilians will be evacuated. So if you have any business with them, I suggest you take care of it. Do you require... Soon.
I was right about you. The mercenaries aren't quick to mobilize, so you have time to do what you need. Or are you ready to finalize the defense? We could use people handy with a blaster. We also got a lot of things that could use fixing. It isn't glamorous, but that type of work sometimes makes a load of difference. Off the top of my... The 3 turrets outside Khoonda are on the blink. The men who were wounded by the turrets are holed up in the med lab. I've had some men lay traps around Khoonda, but nobody here really specializes in demolitions. I'm sure there's some gaps that could be filled. The side security door to Khoonda has been malfunctioning as long as I've been here. It may be best to just seal it off lockdown so nobody gets through. We got some broken assault droids that have been collecting dust for the last 5 years. If they were working, it would help a lot with interior defense. If I had it my way, I'd recruit any citizen of Khoonda that can hold a blaster. But it's hard to convince peaceful farmers to fight. Maybe die for a cause. I don't know for certain. It could be a day or even a week. Inspecting the perimeter, talking to the troops and coming up with a battle plan. I fought in a war or two, but I'm no general. In my experience, people like you are better at strategy. When you're ready, come...
You heard what the administrator said. Each of us has to do what they can to aid in the defense of Khoonda. We'll have time to talk more when this is all over.
We've been told to provide you with anything you need.
Zeron was right about the mercenaries all along. I guess my ego clouded my judgment as to what's best for Khoonda.
I was right about you. That's good to hear. Phil. So you did. Here's the credits I told you about. That was very helpful of you. The mercenaries aren't quick to mobilize, so you have time to do it. I'll tell you what I tell all those grubby salvagers. Nope. Let me see the will. I'll be glad to get rid of this claim. He left all his possessions to one of the other dead salvages. The administrator will have to figure out what happens to them. I was right about the mercenary. You sure? Once we're done with that, there may not... All right. Then we got a lot to do.
Since you are here to bolster Khoonda's defense, I will hurry to the mercenary camp and delay their assault however I can.
I imagine that the mercenaries have got two goals in this whole thing. Kill me and kill the administrator. The rest of the settlers won't have courage to resist if they succeed. The administrator's locked up in her office tight, which means that the mercs have to go through us and Khoonda's defenses. It isn't gonna be easy. I suspect we're gonna have to fight on the inside. They've got 3 entrances they're gonna try and break in. Here's the front door, the security door on the side, and the garage door in back. We got 3 squads of militia. We can assign people to the front, back, or inside. Backside has to guard 2 entrances. The front will have to fight more people, and the inside will have to deal with any that break through. So, where do you think the first squad should be deployed? First squad is most experienced. The only squad that could go blaster to blaster against the mercs. Second squad has a lot of passion, but no experience. Third squad is new and not trained too well, and they may break in combat. They need a good leader to make them effective. So, where do you think the first squad should be deployed? The battles that had the least dying were always led by Jedi. Where do you want the second squad? All right, where do you want the... Fine by me. The last question is, where do you want to go? Either the front or the back. That's what I was thinking too. The main group of mercenaries. Once the fighting starts, you gotta stay in your area. We both have to guard our half of the battlefield. Thanks to you, they're gonna have a tougher job. That's about it. Now we just need to dig in and wait for the mercs to come. Afraid not. We don't have much. Well, I'll tell them what's there to do. All right, I'll assemble the men. I hope you can speak good. You're much better with words than me. I think it'll really help. Let's get ready for the mercenaries. If we fall here, all of Dantooine falls with us.
Tell me what you see, soldier.
They're mobilizing the militia. Looks like a lot of activity down there.
They've been warned. It won't be of any use. The plan doesn't change. Captains, prepare your men. Their leader, Administrator Tarina, must not survive the battle. Everything else is secondary to that objective.
We've lost too many soldiers. Fall back inside.
So you're the Jedi. I take it you are responsible for the surprises we've had during this battle. Stand aside. Our quarrel is with a distinguished administrator. This isn't your problem. You have no idea who you're talking to. I was going to spare your worthless life. I see I was in error. I was trained at Malak's academy. Your tricks won't work on me. You're just another dead Jedi to me.
Sorry I was held up, but it looks like I've arrived in time to pull you out of your predicament.
Kill them all.
You can be sure that Dantooine will not forget how the Jedi protected us. We are a humble community, and this conflict has greatly diminished our resources. I hope this reward will be sufficient. I am humbled by your generosity. I will put this to good use. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have much work to do. Dantooine will be slow to rebuild, but I am confident now that we will one day achieve prosperity.
Khoonda is safe in no small part due to you. I feel certain that the Administrator wouldn't have made it without your assistance. I may have misjudged you. In any case, I am free to talk about whatever you wish. There are a few of us left, but I do not even know if the others still live. We may be the last. We've been forced to divide our forces and retreat to places which will be difficult for our enemies to detect and attack. We have chosen to hide our presences from each other. We cannot, and we have resolved not to until we have found where the Sith are striking from. But even as our numbers thin, there is still no trace of them. We had hoped to outmaneuver them. By letting them believe themselves victorious, we thought they would become bold and step from the shadows. Then, all of us who remained vowed to meet here on Dantooine. From here we can plan a course of action and carry the battle to them. But so far they remain in hiding, and Jedi continue to vanish and die. You have more questions for... You have seen the end of your trial? Perhaps you would like to explain how you came to this knowledge. That was intended only for the Jedi Council. If what remains of the Council chooses to tell you, then I will abide by their decision and its consequences. There is little I can tell you. Master Kavar felt something had happened to you in the war, but all he had was suspicions, not truths. And Kavar was too close to you in any event. He, too, felt the call of war and took to battle more than a Jedi should. His speculations would not help you now, but enough of this. It is knowledge for the Council alone until they choose to reveal it. You have more questions for me? Force bonds? Yes. It is the bond that grows between master and student. Are you saying you have bonded with another? That's what bonds normally grant strength to both. Not to such a degree. Are you certain? Perhaps it is merely what you believe. Still, your ability to form such connections, to influence others, was always a subject of discussion, even when you were a student. Perhaps it is a punishment of a sort. But a bond that ties two lives together, such bonds do not seem natural to me. And when you lost connection to the Force, it seems such a connection would be impossible. Perhaps accidentally, but I do not feel such for you. I feel nothing but what I felt in the Council Judge Chamber course and so long ago. Still, you and your connections were often the subject of debate in the Council. It is possible returning to no space, journeying with others has caused the Force to stir within you again. You have more questions for me? I've seen no evidence of them on Dantooine. Only murderers and raiders. Why would they attack you? You are no Jedi. You cannot feel the Force. Perhaps it is this some reason I believe you. Still, I am curious as to how they will know to find. Your trial is not above knowledge. Regardless, these Sith have struck, and you survived. This is more knowledge than I had before. And that means the Jedi gather. If you can find others, or find some trace of the Sith threat, then we shall gather here on Dantooine. And from there we decide what can be done. You have more questions for me? I suppose there is something I should show you. It will keep you alive long enough to prove it. I'm only going to demonstrate this once. This is the Sheen form, a defensive stance that's good when you're outnumbered, which is most of the time. This form will increase your ability to deflect blaster fire, and increases the odds of dealing critical strikes against your attackers. I don't know how you learned that so quickly. Still, your form is sloppy. Keep practicing to tighten it up and you'll be fine.
Unnecessary observation. Annoying recitation. Recitation. And bring about the termination of hostilities.
My lightsaber. You've destroyed it. I yield, Master. It is as I heard through the Force. My life for yours. You must. The alternative is only another death. And I would rather die by your hands. I have nothing to offer you. Your strength is superior. It is as I felt.
Now I've seen everything. This woman, she's a Miraluka. I didn't think any were left in this part of the galaxy. Well, some of her wounds are pretty bad. Looks like she was already carrying her share of scars, though. I think she'll recover, yeah.
She is a threat to us. I am not asking that she be harmed or interrogated, but she is of the Sith, and she has attacked us once. She should not be allowed to walk freely on the ship. Yes? Training is something reserved for certain... I do not understand how you and... All Ichani fighting principles rely on foundations. If one does not understand the most basic of fighting moves, it is not possible to understand the higher tiers. It is similar to learning the alphabet of a language before being able to use words, then sentences. As a foundation, I will instruct you in our elementary movements. The body itself is the first weapon you must master. It is not something that can be described. Let us duel, you and I, and that shall teach you more than my words can. Use only your hands and feet to strike at me, nothing else, or our combat shall be over. Do not resort to using any items or any force techniques you may possess. Very well. I shall match my movements to resist your efforts, and do not hold back, or I will hurt you.
Here! Here!
You fought well indeed. You have caught the principles of the style by watching and anticipating my movements. Before you go, there is something I must know. Why did you go back, face trial? I do not understand it myself. It was always something I was curious about. To walk to one's own sentence willingly? It is a brave thing. You may... Very well. I think you are ready for the next tier of instruction. For this we will keep the etiquette of the last duel, but we shall add any melee weapon you choose to the ritual, with the exception of the Jedi weapon, the saber. Vibro blade, stun stick, force pike, whatever you wish. But no items, no force techniques. Then let us begin. And again, do not hold back. You fought well indeed. You have caught the principles of the style by watching and anticipating my movement. Yes. I do not think you are ready for further instruction. It is the way of the Ichani to be able to read their opponents, to know where an opponent is going to strike before it connects, anticipate it, and then strike against them. Ichani battles are fought several minutes in advance. In many ways, it is much like the game of Jajaric, played in the course system. The most advanced in the Ichani are able to predict course of battles by months, and the most revered are said to be able to predict the path of wars. Only Revan ever demonstrated such skill in war. You are already doing it. If you do not know you are doing it, then training will make you a dangerous opponent indeed. Come, as we fight more, I will teach you. Do not think about predicting my movements. React instinctively. You are doing better. At first I was afraid that your awareness of your own ability might ruin it, but that is not the case. You learn quickly. Perhaps it is your connection to the Force that allows such things, but I do not think so. Now you fight as an Ichani warrior fights, always in the future. Yes? I do not...
Ah, you are here. You felt it, did you not? The time to hide your presence is coming to a close, and you will need to increase your training. You are ready. Your training must increase, and there are higher mysteries you must learn. But only you must know the path you will take. I cannot choose it for you. Is it battle that stirs you? To meet an enemy blade upon blade? Such is the way of the greatest of Jedi warriors, the weapon masters. Or perhaps it is investigating the mysteries of the galaxy, seeking out injustice and harm, and bringing it into the light. Such is the way of the Jedi watchman in the time of Ulic Qel-Droma and Exar Kun. Or perhaps your way lies upon the ancient mysteries, and to teach others the ways of the Force, as I have, the way of the Jedi Masters. It is not some great test you require to be what you strive to be. It is only your decision to find that path that matters. From here on, you guide your destiny. But in order to take the next steps, you must face your past and put it to rest. You have befriended the seer. Her species does not see as we do. They perceive the galaxy through the Force, and it is how she found you. It is a rare gift squandered on her people. The Sith carry the battle to you, and you spare them. And as we travel, the empty places of this ship are filled. I hope your thoughts in this matter are clear. In saving her, you may destroy yourself. And do not mate with her. Whatever you may feel, whatever urges consume you, do not let them control you. Such a union would breed difficulties. We shall see. I trust your exile has taught you restraint and discipline in the ways of the flesh. Like the servant of Atris, this one has other masters. Though blind, she has ties to darkness. Her presence here is a threat to us, to you. Do not underestimate her or her loyalty. To show mercy to a Sith is to invite a blade to your throat. You walk a fool's path, and I will not aid you in helping her. Did he? And what do you make of that? The Mandalorians were right to respect you on the field of battle. The Jedi are gone, vanished. Now, an entire planet of Force sensitives wiped clean of life. And now this slice of the galaxy is blind. It is no coincidence. The two events are tied. I fear you are right. And I fear it may prove more than that. War is a hunger. And there are spirits in the galaxy whose hunger is never satisfied. But there is little to be done about it now. Watch the seer carefully. She may reveal more. Ask. That crystal is bonded to you. Through you, it acquires its character and strength. And through it, your power is enhanced. Let me focus on the crystal for a moment. There, now it is fully in tune with you again. Is there something else you wished? She did nothing to your eyes that was not already there. She has forced this upon you, but such crude methods are the markings of the Sith. Close your eyes. Feel this ship around you. Listen to my words. Hear the sound of the handmaidens training in the cargo hold, her hands cutting the air. The welding of the droid as it goes about its work. Now, stretch out. Hear the rumble of hyperspace, the hum of the hyperdrive. Ignore distractions and focus on my voice. The breathing of the blinded one as she meditates in the dark. Now, listen deeper, past her breathing, and listen.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Khoonda, I shall not fear, for in fear lies death, and
you are strong indeed. What you heard were surface thoughts only, but it is something that masters have trained for years and never learned. That is not the real question you should ask. Is such listening enough to perceive the world around you? It is not, because to listen to the thoughts of another is much like attempting to see the universe only with your eyes. It is equally limiting. Now leave me be. I must rest. Yes? Very well. Sit with me. You brush to the surface thoughts of another. It is a start. Calm yourself. This time silence your own thoughts, keeping them still. Imagine the waters of the room 1,000 fountains, each stream suddenly falling silent and still. Imagine the ice Telos, cold and smooth as it gathers on the plateau. Now, stretch out, feel the shiver around you. Strip away the metal, and see the souls and minds of those village corridors, with more thoughts and dreams and worries that can fill the basic ship. As my feet walk from the ashes of Khoonda, I shall not fear, for in fear lies death. And then, in the first second, strike, repeat, circle, augment, faster, quicker. If the father had faster, if only my father had been faster. If I was faster, I would no longer be the last of my sisters. But does Atris love him? Jedi do not love. Does Atris hate him? Jedi do not hate. This journey is harder than any she has sent me on.
Switch essays +1 -1 card. Totals are 9 and 10. Switch essays +2 -2 card. The total is 8, 11. Switch.
Your command echoes still, General, and I obey, as I did at Malachor.
As my feet walk from the ashes of Khoonda,
Switch essays +1
shall
-1
not
card.
fear,
The totals are 9,
for in
10.
fear
Switch the face of the +2
Your command
-2
echoes
card.
still,
The
General,
total is 8,
and I
11.
obey,
Switch.
as I did at Malachor.
not now. The focus on my voice.
Malachor.
Now do you hear me? Truly hear me? You have taken the first steps on a much longer road, exile. The droid cannot be read in such a way. As for the alien who served with you in the war, its thoughts are more difficult, requiring many translations in meaning. Often it is better to read their impulses and images than their spoken thoughts. That is why he is deaf to you. I have found his impulses are cold, like a dead weight. His thoughts are black. Such is the case with primitive minds. It is of no matter. Of course there was. It is because Atten was not playing Pazak, yet he counts cards in his head. At times, he will list off engine sequencers, memorize the hyperspace routes on the other side of the galaxy, count the ticking in the power couplings, even though they are fixed. At other times, he will imagine certain base lusts, certain indignities. It may be Atten is far cleverer than he feigns to be. Or perhaps he is simply a fool. Yes? Very. When I spoke of sight before, there is a similar handicap that tends to occur among those strong in the Force. They neglect their skills. Some believe they no longer need them. The greatest wielders of the Force are those that maintain some grounding to the more physical realities of the universe. Some wielders of the Force have mastered piloting, others the ability to fix and repair and build, from simple moisture vaporators to more complex machines such as droids and vehicles. One's ability to understand the human body and its ailments, for example, can make your powers within the Force more complete, more powerful, when you attempt to repair the cellular damage of another. And others have mastered the more subtle work of politics, persuasion. Do not doubt that a galaxy may be conquered with words, a republic overthrown, and an empire made. When such skills are honed, one's abilities with the Force become that much stronger. My warning to you is this: do not rely on your companions to compensate for your weaknesses in skill. There will be times they will not be there to help you when needed. What skill would you say is your greatest strength? Very well. Return when you are, and I shall have more to impart.
Diagnostic. HK-47 activated. Running checks through primary systems. Assessment. It appears I have suffered considerable damage and dismemberment. I can feel all the cracks in my motivators. And my central control cluster seems to have taken several repeated blaster shots at close range. How crude. Answer, if by okay, you mean the loss of almost all my existing assassination protocols, then no, I am not okay. Furthermore, I seem to have no discretionary control over my vocabulator. Answer, I do not know, Master. Extrapolation. Perhaps someone was already in the process of rebuilding me. Answer, it seems you would know more than I. Reflection. Of course, for some reason that does not alarm me. I suspect I have suffered such repeated memory failures before. Still, the loss of my higher combat and assassination protocols is shameful and degrading. Answer, oh, that is impossible, Master. And regardless, I am a unique model. Why, to think that there would be other versions of me would be unacceptable. Statement. Master, I must inform you that your attempts at humor are wasted on a droid such as I. As I have expressed, I am unique. Resignation. Very well, Master. If you persist in your attempts at humor, I shall indulge you. Conclusion. You speak the truth. Mockery. Am I all right? Oh, yes, Master. Why, I am fine. Statement. I mean, I've only just been reactivated, only to find that there are substandard duplicates of me running all over the galaxy, corroding my good name. But if they are, in fact, hunting you, then I look forward to the opportunity to meet these units. Conclusion. So it seems I need you, for the time being. Recitation. Answer. Well, I am not certain I like the idea of a master who feels reservations at having an assassination droid at their disposal. In fact, it brings with it a certain sense of dread that you may actually not use me to my full capabilities. Answer. Yes, Master. Statement. As I have studied your actions, looking for potential vulnerabilities to exploit, I have found several. Statement. Master, it is nothing personal, but professional pride dictates that I keep a running tally on any potential weaknesses in my masters. And of course, the weaknesses of any other sentient meatbags, droids, or other targets who are in service to my master. Hypothetical. Master, it is entirely possible that one day you may no longer be my master, and that my new master might get jealous of our prior relationship. It has happened before. As a result, I have a responsibility to know your weaknesses should I be required to assassinate you. Statement. Oh, I am aware of that, Master. Consolation. Master, everyone dies eventually, and not all of them by my hand. Even droids die when not routinely maintained, sadly enough. Statement. Statement? Oh, yes, Master. Statement. Very well, Master. But if you wish to be brutal and vicious about it, know that I am trained for such things. Statement. Master, that is a question that has an extremely complicated answer. You see, I do not believe my master knew who he was most of the time, which led to some confusing situations that could have otherwise been avoided. Clarification. Suffice to say that my master had his ups and downs, and in my opinion, traveled from a high point in his life to a low point. He developed qualities such as mercy, compassion, and even love for others. It was really rather revolting. Still, my master had some remarkably destroyed qualities which I admired. He too suffered memory problems, as I did. Statement. Oh, yes, master. As indicated on my media assembly, my central control cluster is damaged. I hope that over time I shall eventually reach the status and skill I possessed before I was damaged. Recollection. The last thing I remember is having my core wiped from the last 5 years. I believe my master was responsible. And sir, even with my memory impairment, I recall that my master was about to embark on a dangerous journey, conjecture. I believe it was something about my master's destination that he did not wish me to know. And sir, I am somewhat disappointed that my master did not choose to take me along, of course. Wherever my master traveled, this destruction and death were assured. Speculation, but I suspect I was not the only one left behind, so there is some satisfaction that the disrespect was spread through the rest of his whiny, simpering back allies. Statement. Oh, yes. My master had quite the collection of tortured individuals that seemed unable to confront their basic personality conflicts. Let me cite some specific example. Mockery.
Oh, Master! I do not trust you! I cannot trust you or anyone! Ever again!
Mockery.
Oh, Master. I love you, but I hate all you stand for. But I think we should go press our slimy, mucus-covered lips together in the cargo hold.
Conclusion. Such pheromone-driven human responses never cease to decrease the charge in my capacitors, and make me wish I could press a blaster pistol to my behavior core and pull the trigger. I am pleased that this does not seem to be the case with your current entourage. Statement. Yes, well, enough of that painful stroll through what remains of my memories. What? Statement. Query. I must express some degree of confusion concerning your actions. You are the one who followed Revan in the Mandalorian Wars, are you not? Observation. Well, Master, I was not at Malachor 5 during your near-genocidal reaction to the Mandalorian threat, but I feel that I may have been constructed as a result of that. Observation. I believe that Revan determined that mass slaughter on such a scale may no longer be needed to achieve his aims. So perhaps you are responsible for my creation. Answer. No, Master. I was constructed shortly after the beginning of the Jedi Civil War. Answer. Well, Master, unless you were operating on my central control cluster, I would be somewhat hesitant to discuss my targets. During the Jedi Civil War, I was responsible for certain strategic targets. For some reason, Revan did not feel that the Republic presented much of a military threat. Aside, I am somewhat unclear as to why this was so, but Revan did have a certain biological instinct regarding such things. Answer. Revan felt the true war was against the Jedi. Observation. It was not something discussed with much of the others, but I think Revan recognized that a single Jedi, both in the past and in the present, could turn the tide of a conflict. So my targets were frequently Jedi, or someone close to a Jedi that could result in their corruption or collapse. Revan often assigned me to kill leaders or supporters of certain Jedi so as to erode their will. answer. Revan saw the pressures of war on Duxon and knew that even in the heat of conflict, Jedi could be broken, not physically, but psychologically. Observation. It is a curious thing to assassinate and wound someone's personality, to assassinate them psychologically, and it took me some time to reconcile the acts. I am much more used to their direct approach. Still, I served well and killed many Jedi. Observation. Master, that was the lesson of Malachor. Any Jedi involved in the systematic slaughter on such a scale cannot help but doubt and question themselves. Observation. Master, I do not believe that the Mandalorians were the true target at Malachor. I believe that the intention was to destroy the Jedi, break their will, and make them loyal to Revan. I do not know if you examined the records of the deaths on Malachor, but you cannot escape that many of the Jedi and Republic soldiers who died were not Revan's strongest supporter. Observation. I believe that Revan was cleaning house at Malachor 5. Answer. Oh, yes, Master. I do not know when the Jedi ceased to be adherents to their code, but many did not tread cautiously, and many were quite arrogant when facing a droid. It gave certain kills and added pleasure when being underestimated. Observation. Master, that... Statement. Yes, Master. I must confess, I enjoy it when you are so authoritative and dismissive toward me.
Yes, General? Let me see. That's everything. Now all you need is a little quiet time with the workbench. Yes, General?
My life for yours. I am able to serve. If we enter battle, I will fight and die alongside you. I have not heard that question in some time. My flesh is healed if that's the answer you seek. The scars are many and the causes equally so. It is of no importance. I felt you, heard you through the Force. It was like a sound at the edge of hearing. And when I heard it, I found I could not ignore it. I serve my master. I am an emissary, a scout. My master was aware of a disturbance in the Force, but was unaware of its nature, of you. The disturbance is not something one feels from a living thing. There is little my master does not know, and that you eluded his sight for so long is significant. But I do not know why. You cannot. His vessel roams the borders of known space, and even I do not know where he travels. Until he calls for me. Even if I could lead you to my master, I cannot permit you to find him until you are ready. If I bring you before my master untested, without your potential realized, then you will be lost to me, and I cannot allow that to happen. It would be as if one brought fire to a paradise valley, shattered a cavern of rare crystal, or blinded a painter. I cannot. I will not. I would die first, and gladly, to preserve you, untouched, unharmed. Now that I have found you, I cannot sacrifice what I have found. You will meet my master. It is inevitable. I have seen it. And when you stand before him and realize what you face, you must be prepared. Until then, I must protect you, help you, until you are ready. There's a greatness in you. A greatness that does not stem from the Force. It stems from who you are. And if my master does not understand you, cannot see you, then perhaps there is hope for us all. But if you seek to survive, then you must understand why this is so. There is much I see my master cannot. I fear it is because of my nature, the nature of my race. My people spend their lives seeing the galaxy, the energy streaming off stars, the growth of life, all things touched by the Force. It is not a subject which I have spoken of since its destruction. The planet was not destroyed. It remains. It orbits, dead in space. But nothing lives on its surface. It echoes, but there's no one left to hear it. I am not certain I did. I was there when the planet died. To see everything around you extinguished. It was as if I was blinded. It was as if the Force had been bled from the world. I imagine there are worse deaths, worse pain. But if there are, I do not know them. I was the only living thing they made on the planet of Qatar. And my life, my agony, was a flicker in the darkness that was the planet. All that I had been connected to had been severed. Yes, but it was not survival. I still wonder what would have happened if I had died with the others. If perhaps there would have been some way to hide my presence from the galaxy. If only I had not felt that pain, that loss, as strongly as I did. But it could not be done. When the life was bled from the planet, and yet somehow I remained. My master came for me. He walked upon the surface of my dead world. And there, lying bodies of my race, he took me for his own, and made me see. And for the first time I saw the galaxy. And I should die. To this galaxy, my world, absent the currents and spectrum of the Force, was nothing crude matter, rock, the flesh, emptiness. He showed the flickering life of other planets. The mass beings that swarmed the latent places of the galaxy. To see such creatures, disconnected from themselves, their world, their places in it, unable to see the currents and how they affected everything around them. He showed me to make me believe in his cause. He convinced me the galaxy, all life, must die. He fed upon ugliness, its screaming, and in its place, he left silence. And where there was chaos, he brought stillness and order. The Jedi, the last council of the Jedi, came to our world to meet in secret. They hoped that perhaps among our people, they could achieve the clarity to see what was striking them from the darkness of the galaxy. They succeeded, but only in bringing him from the outer regions. And Qatar, with my kind, with the Jedi upon its surface, could no longer be ignored. And my people died, and the Jedi died, and there was no one left, only me. They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat. He cannot deny his hunger for long, and any gathering of Jedi is something he cannot long resist. And now that the Jedi are vanishing, I do not know what will happen. Perhaps he will grow strong enough to eradicate all life, merely with his presence. I do not understand what you mean. They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them. He cannot... And I will answer what I can, but my answers may prove useless. It is not a I'm not familiar with the place you speak of, but there are others who may move more freely. There are many factions within the Sith. Where one moves, it is not always known to the others. They believe you are the last of the Jedi, and their hatred of the Jedi unites them. I will answer. My master did not cause the end of the planet you speak of. There are many factions within the Sith. Where one moves, it is not always... They believe... My people once had the power to perceive events, to see through the Force. That sight may manifest itself in many ways, and at times, I may affect the abilities of others to see as well. My sight has been damaged. What I have taught you, it is not the full extent of the perceptions of my people. My master, when he showed me my world, showed it to me as it is. It hurt. And since that moment, it has been difficult to perceive the Force as I once did. But after traveling with you, I feel that perhaps there was a gift in it, hidden beneath the pain. Only when one suffers do certain truths become evident, both of the galaxy and of the self. And I feel you are an example of this. If you wish to know, perhaps it is possible to show another what my people see, what I see. First, you must close your eyes. The surface of the ship, its sights, will only be a distraction. Now, in your mind, reach out. Listen for my breathing. Do not focus on the sound, but the life behind it. Imagine its energy, its texture, in tandem with the breathing. And then in your mind, step back from the image and see what remains. There. It is not as difficult as I thought. You learn quickly. It will take effort to maintain such sight, but you now have that power, and with it you can use it to see life around you in a different way, as I used to see it. Forgive me, but before you go, I must ask, why do you do this? Why do you seek to help me, teach me? You must not do this. I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me. So you say, but it is not something I have observed or seen. I remember little of my homeworld before I entered my master's service. It is not as it was. There is little left of such memories, or the planet itself. It is not as...
When I spoke of sight before, there is a similar handicap that some wielders of the... What? What? And what skill would you say is your greatest weakness? Then my task before you is this. Take your greatest weakness, devote effort to it, strengthen it, and I will show you how it shall strengthen your power in the Force. As you learn and train and test yourself against the galaxy, all your skills have a chance to improve and grow as well. When you devote some of that training to your weakest skill, you will know. Yes? Have you come with... Very well. Have you done as I... Very well. Then know this. All situations contain within them the potential for violence. To know how to hold that violence in check, to restrain it, and use it to hold the situation to your advantage is the way of any wielder of the Force. Skill does not always draw from the Force, but it is a measure of power nonetheless. It can grant knowledge, help steady oneself when one's thoughts are in chaos, or grant enlightenment. Much can be achieved without the Force, as you know. Life continues, persists, and may be helped or harmed as a result. Now I am tired. Leave me to my meditations. Yes? Very... Ah, I had wondered if... But your powers are strong indeed. Now is not the time to speak of this. Wait until you have more of the galaxy within you, and we shall speak again. Every step on our journey shall bring with it discoveries. With persistence, you shall grow in the Force. And for every planet we reach, all that we touch with our presence, you shall grow, for you will have no choice. Yes? The Jedi you may have already felt, others may. Ah, a technique that helps one resist the Force attacks of an enemy and also is excellent in lightsaber combat. It does more damage, but it leaves you vulnerable to other attacks. Use it against others wielding the Force or lightsabers, but not against anyone else. Others may come with time, with experience. A defensive technique, but effective. Use it if you do not wish to be hit, or if you are facing many opponents with blasters. With a lightsaber blade and enough skill in deflection, it is an excellent defense against blasters, but in other situations, it merely delays the inevitable. Others may come with time. Very well. Ask. He, if he can truly be called a man any longer, is one of the Dark Lords that pursues you. He spared the Miraluka, and that may have been the last shred of feeling that exists within him. Keep his slave close to you. I suspect there was a reason he spared her. One cannot have power of that magnitude that her master possesses and still think and perceive the universe as we do. I had hoped that you would not have to confront him, but her presence here has changed all that. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Perhaps her death will buy you the time you need to deal with her master. Entertain what illusions you will. I am too tired to argue them with you. It is a technique that is almost as old as the Sith themselves. It is a means of severing connections between life, the Force, and feeding upon the death it causes. It cannot be taught. It can only be gained through instinct, through experiencing its effects firsthand. Yes, and he fed upon its destruction. Power? Do you think so? You would be wrong. There is no strength in the hunger he possesses, and the will behind his power is a primal thing. And it devours him as he devours others. His mere presence kills all around him, slowly feeding him. He is already dead. It is simply a question of how many he kills before he falls. Nothing is impossible with the Force, and like energy, it may be harnessed, channeled, and consumed at times. Do not think of his power as one would a weapon, or one of your warships of the Republic. It is terrible, but it is still a subtle thing. The sect of assassins that chase you feed on the Force. What he does is simply the pinnacle of what they could achieve in time. And that is why they and their techniques must be wiped out. No one again must experience and learn what her master did. as much as one may use the Force to bolster the wills and strengths of others, instead of sending one's will through connections in the Force, instead such connections are drawn upon, fed upon, and drained completely. Then you understand how terrible such a power is, and why it must be ended. It is an empty road to the dark side, and by traveling it, the price is death before one's time. He is a breach in the Force, capable of consuming the lives of those around him. Sometimes the touch is slow, as it is with his crew. It is not something he can direct or focus, much like hunger itself. He is more of a hole in the Force than a living thing. Force sensitives and worlds rich in the Force draw him. The Miraluka world was one such place. That is why the Jedi gather. Jedi will die. He will feel it, unless they mask their presence. But Qatar called out as a beacon to him, and he could not resist it. And he cares nothing for the Sith or its teachings. And when the Jedi are dead, he will feed on the galaxy. There is no future in the empty galaxy, and that is why it must be stopped. The breach must be sealed before his power grows beyond what even we can hope to stop. Perhaps he is bound to her, as I am bound to you. You must be prepared to sacrifice the blinded one. Ask. The Mandalorians were right to respect you on the feedback. The Jedi are gone, vanished now, an entire planet of Force sensitives, wiped clean. I fear you are right, but there is little to be done about it now. Watch the Seer carefully, she may know more.
Something up?
Passes the time. It's better than listing off engine sequencers, memorizing hyperspace routes, or counting ticks in the power couplings. Why do I play Pazak? Alright, I'll show you. We're not playing for Alright. Something. Why do I... Something up? Of course it's fixed. And that's why you should count the ticking in the power coupling, too. Why do I play... We're not...